Weight loss is often framed as a simple math equation of calories consumed versus burned. This model ignores biology, hormones, adaptation, and feedback systems governing energy balance within the body. Calorie restriction alone consistently fails long-term because the body actively resists deficits over time. As intake drops, metabolism slows, hunger rises, and fatigue increases, undermining adherence for most people. The scale may move briefly, but biological defenses soon counteract continued weight loss attempts persistently. This explains repeated cycles of dieting, frustration, regain, and declining metabolic confidence over time globally. Understanding why this model fails is essential before discussing durable belly fat loss strategies today. The body stores fat in response to hormonal signals rather than simple failures of willpower. Hormones coordinate energy storage, release, hunger, and expenditure based on perceived environmental conditions. Insulin plays the central role, directing nutrients towards storage or allowing fat to be burned. When insulin remains elevated, the body prioritizes storing energy regardless of calorie intake levels. This process operates automatically without conscious control or moral judgment about eating behaviors. Blaming discipline overlooks the biological drivers that govern fat accumulation and resistance to loss. Addressing hormones first creates conditions where belly fat reduction becomes possible and sustainable. Insulin is the primary signal telling the body whether to store energy or release it. High insulin levels direct nutrients into fat cells and block fat release simultaneously. When insulin stays elevated, fat burning becomes biologically inaccessible regardless of exercise effort. No amount of physical activity can override chronically high insulin signaling over time. This explains why intense workouts fail to reduce belly fat for many individuals. Lowering insulin exposure is required before stored fat can be accessed for energy. Fat loss begins with hormonal permission, not increased force or effort alone. Calorie restriction triggers protective responses that reduce energy expenditure throughout the body. The body interprets prolonged calorie deficits as a threat to survival and adapts accordingly. Resting metabolic rate declines as the body conserves energy to preserve vital functions. Hormones regulating hunger and satiety shift, increasing appetite and food-seeking behaviors. Fat loss slows as efficiency improves, making further weight reduction increasingly difficult. This adaptation explains plateaus commonly experienced during prolonged calorie-restricted dieting attempts. Eating less alone teaches the body to burn fewer calories, not more, over time. Lie 1: eat less, move more. People fail to lose belly fat not from ignorance but from powerful hormonal resistance mechanisms. Reducing calories and increasing exercise initially works, but triggers compensatory biological responses quickly. The body lowers metabolism, increases hunger, and reduces spontaneous movement to protect energy stores. This compensation makes sustained fat loss increasingly difficult despite greater effort over time. Blaming individuals ignores the predictable physiological adaptations that undermine this advice repeatedly. The eat less, move more mantra oversimplifies a complex hormonal system governing body weight. Lasting fat loss requires changing signals, not fighting biology with willpower alone. Li 2: breakfast is mandatory. The belief that breakfast is mandatory was promoted by industry interests rather than biology. Human physiology evolved, expecting regular fasting periods rather than constant early morning feeding habits. For many people, eating early raises insulin and delays access to stored fat reserves. Skipping breakfast can allow insulin to fall and metabolic flexibility to improve gradually, steadily. Morning hunger does not indicate danger, but reflects habitual feeding patterns over time consistently. Forcing breakfast often disrupts natural appetite cues and reinforces constant eating behaviors throughout day. Understanding this myth helps restore trust in the body's ability to regulate energy balance. Fasting is a normal biological state that allows hormones to shift toward energy release. During fasting, insulin levels fall, enabling stored fat to be used for fuel efficiently. Human physiology evolved, expecting daily periods without food intake regularly. A 14 to 16-hour daily fast aligns closely with these evolutionary patterns. This fasting window allows metabolic systems to reset and restore fuel flexibility. Fat burning becomes possible when insulin remains low for extended periods consistently. Fasting supports energy balance without forcing calorie restriction or constant hunger. Lie 3 fasting is starvation. Fasting is often confused with starvation, but these states trigger very different biological responses. Starvation implies nutrient deficiency, while fasting maintains access to stored energy reserves safely internally. Research shows basal metabolic rate does not decline during short-term fasting in healthy adults. In some cases, metabolism temporarily increases due to rising catecholamines and growth hormone levels. The body shifts toward fat use rather than conserving energy aggressively during fasting periods. This distinction explains why fasting can support fat loss without metabolic damage long-term. Calling fasting starvation misunderstands physiology and discourages a useful metabolic strategy for many people. Body fat is stored energy designed to be accessed during periods without food intake. It is not decorative tissue or a permanent feature meant to be protected indefinitely. The body accumulates fat to ensure survival during unpredictable food availability historically. When hormonal conditions allow, fat is released and converted into usable energy efficiently. Fasting creates the signal that stored energy is needed and safe to use. This process supplies fuel to muscles, organs, and the brain without external intake. Understanding fat as energy changes the psychological relationship with weight loss efforts. Lie 4 eat 6 small meals. The advice to eat 6 small meals keeps insulin elevated throughout the entire day. Constant insulin signaling prevents fat from being released from storage tissues efficiently. Frequent eating eliminates extended low insulin periods required for fat burning to occur. This pattern trains the body to rely on constant incoming energy rather than stored reserves. Hunger often increases because insulin fluctuations disrupt normal appetite regulation mechanisms. Eating frequently does not boost metabolism in a meaningful long-term way. This approach blocks belly fat loss, despite careful calorie control and meal planning. Eating raises insulin, while fasting lowers it, creating opposite metabolic states within the body. Fat burning requires extended periods of low insulin to unlock stored energy efficiently, safely. Fewer meals naturally lengthen fasting windows, allowing hormones to favor fat release over time. This pattern reduces insulin exposure and trains metabolism to rely on internal fuel sources. With fewer meals, appetite often stabilizes as blood sugar fluctuations decrease gradually over time. Lower insulin duration improves access to belly fat without increasing hunger signals or cravings. Meal frequency matters because hormones respond to timing more than calorie math alone overall. Modern eating patterns increased snacking and refined carbohydrates, driving frequent insulin spikes daily, globally. These spikes keep fat locked while worsening hunger cycles and energy crashes throughout days. Refined carbohydrates digest rapidly, causing blood sugar swings and repeated insulin elevations throughout day. This pattern promotes overeating by disrupting satiety signals and encouraging constant snacking habits daily. Over time, metabolic health deteriorates, making belly fat loss increasingly difficult for many people. Reducing snacking and refined carbohydrates lowers insulin exposure and stabilizes hunger levels over time. This shift restores normal eating rhythms, supporting sustainable fat loss long-term for adults. Lie 5 weight loss. Drugs are the solution. Weight loss drugs reduce appetite, but do not correct underlying hormonal drivers of obesity. They manipulate signaling pathways temporarily without restoring metabolic flexibility or long-term insulin control. When medications stop, appetite returns, while insulin dynamics and fat storage patterns remain unchanged. This explains rebound weight gain frequently observed after discontinuation, despite initial short-term success. Drugs can assist symptoms but cannot replace biological alignment through nutrition, fasting, and lifestyle. Relying solely on medication postpones learning sustainable habits that regulate hormones naturally over time. Long-term success requires correcting signals, not suppressing appetite with external chemical shortcuts alone. Protein, fiber, and fermented foods naturally stimulate satiety hormones that regulate appetite effectively, consistently. GLP-1 and peptide YY increase fullness, slow digestion, and reduce overeating impulses significantly. These hormones send signals to the brain that sufficient energy has been consumed already. Higher protein intake improves satiety while supporting muscle maintenance during fat loss active phases. Fiber slows absorption, stabilizes blood sugar, and enhances fullness signals after meals consistently daily. Fermented foods influence gut hormones, improving appetite control and metabolic health naturally over time. Using food to trigger satiety aligns weight loss with biology rather than constant restraint. Stop obsessing over calories and start understanding the hormonal signals driving belly fat storage. Insulin control through fasting and food quality creates conditions where fat loss follows naturally. Alignment replaces force, allowing metabolism to cooperate instead of resisting sustained weight reduction efforts. When hormones are balanced, appetite stabilizes, energy improves, and consistency becomes easier long-term. This approach addresses root causes rather than symptoms, producing durable belly fat loss results. Focus on biology, daily habits, and patience to achieve results that last over time. Follow this channel for science-explained guidance that helps your body work better naturally.